Hello and welcome back to the Embrace the Mud podcast. Today we are going to be exploring a vital topic, and that is nurturing your connection in times of conflict. Can you maintain a sense of connection in the midst of conflict? And even more, can you deepen your connection through conflict? That's what we're talking about today, so let's dive in. You are listening to the Embrace the Mud podcast, where we discuss all things related to healthy, joyful, and life-giving relationships. Why focus on relationships? Because the quality of our intimate partnerships and close connections influences our health, happiness, and longevity more than anything else in our lives. Relationships matter a lot. So together, let's jump into the mud, aka our messy relationships, pull some weeds, plant some seeds, and create an enriching environment where strong relationships can take root. I am your grateful host, Dara Posner. I am a relational disaster working toward relational mastery. I am also a positive psychology coach, a relational mindset coach, a blogger, and now a podcaster. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Embrace the Mud podcast, where we discuss all things related to healthy, joyful, life-giving relationships. If you are a fan of this podcast, please subscribe, follow, like, review, and share. Your engagement in this way is crucial to the success of the podcast, and I appreciate you taking just a few seconds to support my mission, which is to help people like you flourish in life and love. In the midst of conflict, our priority is usually trying to find solutions and resolve the conflicts that we're in. But what matters more than finding those solutions is how we handle one another inside of the conflict. You might end up solving a problem, but if you leave the conversation feeling unseen or misunderstood, or your partner does, that creates disconnection. So what is the secret sauce to fortify your bond during these tough times? It is a blend of empathy, humility, and patience. This is the golden trio of connection in conflict. So first up, let's talk about empathy. This is the art of seeking to understand things from your partner's perspective. Instead of jumping to conclusions or making assumptions, you want to be curious. You want to ask questions and truly listen. It's about saying, help me understand your world. Next is humility. This is about the ability to release the need to be right. I know, difficult, so difficult for so many of us. And instead, strive for mutual understanding. I love something that Terry Real says, which is, in interpersonal relationships, the answer to the question, who's right and who's wrong, is who cares, right? Because there are two subjective experiences and quote unquote realities, right? So what we want to do is strive for mutual understanding. Humility says our connection is more important than my ego. It's a beautiful dance of vulnerability and strength to be humble. And finally, we have patience, the unsung hero in relationships. This is the willingness to listen without rushing, really giving space for your partner's thoughts and feelings, drawing them out, and extending grace, knowing that we all stumble in this complicated dance of connection. So in conflict, where you can maintain and deepen connection, each partner is feeling cherished and loved. That's the magic that fortifies the bond. It's not about perfection. It's about being present, understanding, and patient with one another. So in summary, remember that in times of conflict, the process matters more than the solution. You want to focus on cultivating empathy, on embracing humility, and exercising patience. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the Embrace the Mud podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please hit that subscribe or follow button. If you feel that this episode might help somebody in your life that you know, feel free to share this episode with them. I'd also love to connect with you in other spaces. I'm over on Instagram, so if you're there too, please follow me. My handle is @EmbraceTheMud, and slide into my DMs and say hello. I would love to connect with you there. I also send out a weekly newsletter called Questions for the Soul, where I send a journal prompt to guide you inwardly and help you connect with your deepest needs and desires for your life and your relationships. If you'd like to learn more about working with me, you can go over to mudcoaching.com and read about what I do, how I do it, and who I work with, and what all of my offerings are for you there. I'll be back very soon with another episode here on the Embrace the Mud podcast. In the meantime, I invite you to remember, you are wired for love and connection. You are capable of love and connection. You are worthy of love and connection. I'll see you next time.